We are live.
Good morning.
We made it.
Oops.
I want to educate the masses on the great life that I've had in sales and want you to understand how you can get into sales as well.
My mission is really to help individuals, sales professionals, elevate their game and take it to the next level.
I am all in 100% because we need to change the face of sales.
To show people how they can change how they sell without changing who they are.
What actions do we take to actually see different outcomes? That is the question.
Hi, I'm Lindsay.
Good morning.
Hi, I'm Heidi.
I'm your boy, Larry.
And I'm Joyce. And this is the Sales View.
Oh.
Hey, how are you guys doing? I think I need to be looking this way. They got me set up with all these fancy cameras today. I'm like, what am I doing?
I was going to say, you've got a nice background, a nice ambiance going on.
Yes. I'm here. I'm filming a sales training in Atlanta. So yeah, I'm live. I'm in the studio. And so I apologize for the glitches that we have this morning. I'm going to get this thing. Else me. I'm going to get it right. But hey, you guys, today we're going to talk about hidden sales jobs. And I tell you, this is a topic that I love to have a lot of fun with because I'll share a quick story. I remember being in corporate and talking to someone. They're like, I'm just tired of sales. I'm going to leave corporate. I'm going to go out on my own and what have you. And I'm like, oh, really? So what are you going to do? And they're like, I'm going to go into real estate. And I'm okay because you won't be selling there, right? That's definitely not a sales job, right? And then yesterday I'm interviewing with someone who was interviewing me on their podcast, and they're like, yeah, well, I was a recruiter, but people thought that was sales. It wasn't a sales job. I was like, it was absolutely 100% a sales job. So that's what I want to talk about today because, guys, I think if people understand that there is a sales component to their job and really understand the sales process, they could be better at it. And we won't have all these people that, have all these myths about sales and hate sales and they're just grumbling about sales. And the reason they are is because they didn't understand they were in a sales role to begin with, right? So, hey, about it. Let's everyone share one of those hidden sales roles that, out there that people really don't recognize. Heidi, welcome back. We missed you last week. Let's start with you.
We did. I missed you so much. I was back on the road and with my team in Tucson, and it was so nice to get some real hugs and high fives. So, but I missed y'all.
Great. That's great.
I missed y'all for sure. I'm happy to start, Joyce, if that's okay. I've always, I think, sales is a life skill. It's not just a job skill. And I'll share a quick story. So when growing up, I rode horses, and I was actually in my senior year of high school was an alternate on the U.S. equestrian team. Oh. And without telling you, going through a whole long story, I had done 3 days of horseback riding gymnastics to try to make the team. And at the end of those 3 days, I was called up to the podium by the head of the United States equestrian team. And he said, you know what, you're in our top 5. How many horses do you have? And I was like, one, and I don't even own him. I'm leasing him. And I said, but let me tell you, sir, if you put me on the team, I promise you I will be able to find some additional horses. I had no clue how I was going to make that happen. I had and I realized that at that point, and I had to make the point of why I wanted to be on that team. I didn't make the team. Unfortunately, I was an alternate, but didn't make the team. But to me, that is maybe a good example of, it being a life skill, right? I had to try to sell myself and to work through my issue, overcome my problem. So
Right. And that's the scary part, when you don't know right in the beginning, or you have that little fear, you're just like, but sales is great once you
Larry,
what
do
you're
you
doing.
have an example
Right
of
expectations. It's all about setting expectations.
Joyce, I think you went a little glitchy there. I'm not sure if the Wi-Fi.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's
sorry, I
okay.
didn't mean to talk over you. Larry, do you have an example of
Go right
how
ahead.
sales is not sales but is sales?
Well, come on, Heidi. I got 2 kids, an 11 and a 7-year-old. And
The ultimate sales role.
yeah,
The ultimate sales job is trying to sell to your kid.
school is starting back up next Thursday, and those
gosh.
early morning 6:30 a.m. wake up calls. Get your little behinds up. I'm selling them on the value of getting up early, getting prepared. Earning is learning. I mean, any relationship you're selling. That's kids, that's significant others. You're selling yourself, you're selling your point of view, you're selling your beliefs. And I'm a big believer that sales is about matchmaking. You're matching what you have, a product, a service, a thought, an idea, with someone else's needs, their wants, their desires, challenges, hopes, dreams, aspirations. So I believe we're all selling pretty much all the time. Even selling to ourselves. I'm gonna pass the baton. What you got for us, Lindsay?
Oh, Larry. Oh, where's my baton? Oh, I got this. Okay. So I at least got the ball. I posted on LinkedIn. I was thinking about this last night, and I was like, you know what? I think a lot of my summer jobs growing up were sales jobs. I mean, sure. Beer cart girl. Okay, that wasn't a hard sell. I'm going to tell you that right away. That wasn't a hard sell. But some of the other roles that I had, starting your own babysitting business, like being a mini entrepreneur at that point in time, I was selling my services, and on the cheap, by the way, like $2 per kid per hour. I don't know. Like, I'm not that old. I didn't have a good market view, I guess. And then the other one I was thinking of too was I was an umpire and a referee at one point too. And I think this one's interesting too, because not every single call is black and white, right? Like there's some gray area when you're an umpire, when you're a referee, but when you're the 11-year-old kid umpiring the game and all the parents are sitting in the stands, you damn well better be confident in your call. So similar to Heidi's story, right? I mean, I had to go all in. I had to, nobody goes strike. Everybody goes strike. You're out. So I think even those jobs were. Sorry, I was having too much time with this one. Oh, I'll throw the ball back.
Oh my gosh, a paint bat. That's awesome.
One of the others I was thinking about, I have a friend that's in a mortgage business, right? She's I talk to her all the time. That is a sales job. You've got to market it. You have to sell it. You have to close your target audience on doing business with you. Mm-hmm. So you talk about real estate jobs. You talk about, mortgage companies, loan officers at banks, the recruiting business, the staffing business. All of these different jobs that don't have titles. A lot of times people say, well, they hired me for business development. It wasn't sales. I'm a firm believer that we got to stop sugarcoating sales. We got to stop using business development, account management, representative, sales leader, sales manager. I mean, because sometimes people just don't get it. And they're like, I really had a conversation, said with Joyce, they hired me for business development. Yes, and business development is selling.
What's interesting too is that I've been working lately with a lot of people that are looking for careers in sales or sales jobs, and even going through the recruiting process and selling yourself versus other prospective candidates that they may be considering for the job is sales. I find it interesting too, is that a lot of entrepreneurs really have challenges with selling, right? They have these great product ideas, but they're like, I don't want to sell. I just want to strategize, right? And I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, it's sort of interesting. But going through the recruiting process is sales as well.
There's so
Absolutely.
much selling. There's external selling in a formal capacity, but there's also internal selling. I've got a pretty large client that is challenged with their team selling internally, selling their value that, hey, here goes our accomplishments, our achievements, our contributions to the org. And they're a big publicly traded company. We've been working with them around the stigma. Heidi, you just mentioned it. Some entrepreneurs are like, oh, no, not sales. And it's like, oh, yes, I think sales is synonymous with helping. And if you're helping, you're selling. And as an entrepreneur, if you're not selling, how are you going to keep the lights on?
Yeah, that's,
Absolutely.
Larry, that's one of my most popular, most requested courses I get is on internal selling, right? And the funny thing is everybody thinks that when they're at a company, all of our views should be aligned. And so therefore, it shouldn't be a sell. It should just be, okay, this is a great idea. Let's all get in and go ahead and do it. But the reality is that especially in large corporations, there's so many different priorities and silos and options, quite frankly, that if you can't articulate your idea and, articulate the value of that to others and how it might impact them, you're going to be lost.
Yeah. Anybody who's tried to get a budget approved knows that. Do you have some best practices that you've seen for internal selling? Because I agree. I think sometimes selling internally is harder than selling externally to my prospects.
Yeah. I think so. The one that I talk about a lot is, and I think you can use this in external sales too. It has to do with builder bias. So, everybody talks about builder bias, like, oh, well, they built it, so they're going to be, they're going to hold on to that thing and, not want to give it up. And my approach has always been, well, let's lean into that. Like, if I can get other people across the organization excited about something and then they have input into it and they see their ideas coming to life, then they're going to be way more bought into it. So that's always been my kind of thing. Like, don't pull back from builder bias, lean into it.
Absolutely.
I love that. And maybe,
internal,
demonstrate the benefits to somebody else. Sorry, Joyce, go ahead.
No, I was saying, I share with people all the time. You have, two customers, your internal customer and your external customer, right? And your internal customer is just as important as your external customer. And so for me, you use those same tools that you would selling externally for your internal customer, right? So I've always started building that rapport and that relationship important to your internal customer, finding out how you can help them. I've been a big advocate and successful in corporate with my internal customer because where do you want to go in your next role? How can I help you? Right. Yeah. And so once I find out what's important to them and I include their goals within my agenda, right? And if they're trying to go to the next role or what have you, I begin to coach them on that. I give them exposure to it. And I highlight them and help them any way that I can. So once you build that rapport, you start learning and growing that relationship with your internal customer, you're better able to serve them, and then they're happy to serve you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The other, sorry, go ahead, Larry.
Oh, just real quick. Thinking about onboarding, and I know that a lot of organizations have been onboarding remote. One of my go-to activities for onboarding, and it sounds like someone's little one loves it as well. I love that excitement.
Yes.
Love it. I love it. But essentially, I call it the get to know your colleagues challenge. Because as you said, Joyce, that relationship, if I don't know you and you don't know me, how can we really get anything done? How can I ask you for anything? So I tell my reps, let's go out and be intentional with introducing ourselves to other folks in the org and getting to know them so that now that relationship internally is a lot closer, a lot tighter. What you got for us, Linz?
So I was gonna build on that too. And I think what you're saying too, Larry, is that it has to be intentional in some ways. I think that when we think about sales, a lot of the times with maybe not those obvious sales roles, we kind of let some of that sales process, like the cadence and that, okay, who am I going to reach out to? And when am I going to talk to them again? We let that kind of fall away. And we shouldn't be. We should be taking that and building it into how we build our relationships internally, how we, I was in field marketing for a long time. Like I had a cadence built into that too, a sales cadence. So I think using some of the tools for external in the roles that are hidden is going to help you out a lot.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
Anybody else? I was thinking about this one too, is that I always have this Dan Pink quote that sticks with me from his book, To Sell is Human. And it's that it's people in business, not people in sales, people in business spend 40% of their work time selling. So persuading others about their ideas, their vision, their viewpoint. And so what do you think about, not just the initial sales role, but then, you're still selling in all of these other roles as you move through your career? Are there hidden ones kind of up ladder?
Absolutely. I share with people all the time. If you're an accountant, or CPA for companies, whatever it is, and the companies say, hey, go out and find us a new system or tool, right, to simplify our processes. Once you go and identify that tool, you now have to go sell it internally. You have to tell your company why it's okay to spend millions of dollars to implement this new system and how it's going to help and what the benefits are. Right. So when you're putting together that proposal to go back to your leaders and say, hey, I found this awesome, program that Larry's company created, and here's why I think it's great and we should use it. You got to have the selling points on that, right? You have to go through the step we use in selling to our external customers. So there you go again with the internal sell. You're going to say something, Larry?
No. I wanted to hear from Heidi. Yeah, I can see the gears turning on your side, Heidi. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I just listening to you. A lot of ideas are going through my head, and I love that statistic. Actually, Lindsay, I've never heard that 40% of your time is spent selling, and I would maybe even think that it is a little bit higher. But I keep thinking about this whole concept of selling value and creating solutions, and whether you're selling internally or whether you're selling externally to clients, that to me needs to be the foundation of what you're doing. I had a really interesting conversation yesterday. We have a new book coming out in March of next year that's going to be amplifying the voices of women in sales, and I was talking to somebody about writing a foreword or a letter to the readers or whatever. And she was saying, well, I don't know that I'm the right person because my whole position is that you shouldn't sell. And I was like, no, that's perfect, right? Is actually you're advising, you're solving problems, you're creating value, and if you're selling in more of a traditional role, you're probably not going to be successful. So anyway, that was kind of a light bulb moment for me. Is her suggestion to be successful in sales is to not sell.
I love that. I'm going to have a different take. I think sales gets a bad rap. Sales shouldn't be
Absolutely.
A naughty word. It's like people.
No question about
I hear it all
that.
the time. I hear it all the time. Oh, I don't want to be too salesy.
Yeah. What you talking about, Larry?
Why? We're selling. It is what it is. There's nothing. Sales is not a naughty word. It's not a 4-letter word. Come on, Cletus. There's nothing wrong with being salesy if you're helping people. Like you said, Heidi, if you're adding value, you're coming up with solutions, you're advising, you're consulting. But I'm not scared. I am not scared to say that I'm a sales professional. I'm a proud sales professional because I know
Absolutely.
I'm doing things the right way. I think that what happens is the folks that might not be hidden, the used car sales lot that's not looking to match what they have with your needs. They don't even care what you need. Oh, you got kids and you need a minivan? How about this Ferrari? This $100,000 Ferrari? Like, what? the mall, and they want to squirt the little lotion in your hand. It's like, no, I'm not ashy. I moisturized today. You can't call me Ashy Larry. Maybe last weekend I needed some lotion on the ashy elbows, but not today.
You know, I think sometimes when we get back to the hidden sales jobs, because I want to mention as many of them as possible, so people really get it and they understand that they're in that sales profession. When you talk about that, Larry, retail, right? We all had most of us started retail jobs growing up. I know my first jobs were in retail at the mall, right? Right as I was graduating college. After college, I took an outside sales job, and I was thinking, wow, I was really earning more money selling shoes at Dillard's, right? In the shoe department there, because I was selling and closing every day. And so I think when people begin to realize that, it'll also enhance that piece that we call now customer experience, right? I said they were actually selling, the customer experience improves. And that's why I really think it's important for companies to be very clear with their sales professionals that this is a sales job, because they want to improve their customer experience. You improve your customer experience, you sell more stuff.
Yeah, I think if that's your focus, is to actually improve and make a difference to your customer, that's good. I think that's the key. Where sales gets a bad rap is that sometimes salespeople lose their way and they really just care about making money. They don't care about really solving a customer problem or creating a solution that's going to meet the need, move the needle. And they don't make it about their customer. They make it about themselves. And no matter whether you're in a retail store or selling to your kids or whatever kind of sales position if you're in, if you make it about yourself, you're not going to win in the long run. You may get that short-term sale, but you're not going to win in the long run. So I agree with you, Joyce. I think putting your customer first is and creating customer experience is the most important thing.
Yeah, and again, just coaching and training your staff, your sales professionals, that's the goal, right? You talk about getting the win. I'm here in Atlanta right now, I'm live today. I'm filming my new sales program, how to win in sales, right? And for entrepreneurs in that B2B space, because we talk about another hidden role, people want to go out and start their own company. They start a business because they have this hobby or something that they love, and they've kind of been doing it on the side and kind of selling organically to people who like them, right? People who like them, like this, believe in them, so they're going to buy their product. And what happens then is when you're having these easier sales because you're still selling to your personal network, you're missing your target audience, right? Mm-hmm. And so then entrepreneurs think, well, what's wrong? Why is it not selling? Because you haven't into your target audience, one. And then two, most importantly, you haven't realized that you're an entrepreneur, meaning that you are a salesperson. So you need to follow these same sales processes to be successful and to win in that business. So I think there's the biggest hidden sales role ever is entrepreneurship.
And on that note, Joyce, one of the areas where we see a lot of entrepreneurs, especially female entrepreneurs that we were talking about before, is in kind of that network marketing space. They don't call it sales, but it's
don't call it sales.
Mary Kay, doTERRA type of space where, the model is you get your friends together and you kind of sell to them, and then they get their friends together and they sell to them. So that's another space where I think it's hidden, right? It's kind of overlooked.
Yes. And it's hidden because you're selling again to your internal network, and you haven't really developed the skill set of selling your product to the greater global audience, right? Mm-hmm. And that's why, I'm tackling that now, a program on how to win in sales for entrepreneurs so that they can get it and find a way to expand their sales revenue for their business.
I love it. Have y'all thought about being a waiter or waitress at sales? I used to work at TGI Fridays, back when we had the suspenders and I had all the flair and the hat and it was a sales job. I was working hard for those tips. And like you said,
those
Joyce,
tips, you better work hard for them.
customer satisfaction is key. Making sure that you keep the client first. You're meeting their needs so that you can then benefit as well.
I was a terrible waitress at one point in time, Larry. Terrible. They put me on like men's day at the golf course, and I dropped the food. I mixed up the accounts. It was a disaster.
I love my retail sales job, though. That I kind of like you. That's where I got my start. My true start in sales was the first time, and I worked in the men's department and of Saks Fifth Avenue. And I'm going to tell you, the guys would come in, and me and my boss, who was a male boss, we'd kind of go like, okay, do you go sell them or do I go sell them? And I'm like, and we had the highest sales in the Saks Fifth Avenue network for our department, because I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm telling you, you buy that because you're looking hot in that suit, right? Like,
Heidi, was that the truth all the time?
Or I would tell them that, you shouldn't get that. Yeah, I always told the truth actually, but it was good, and we talking about understanding your customer demographics. My boss and I at the time would really size it up of who might be the best person to sell to that particular customer. Anyway, it was a blast.
I have a question for you. So you're a sales leader in that global space right now within an organization. What roles, how are you guys identifying your salespeople? And are they saying business development? Are they saying account management? How are you marketing your sales teams to your target customer?
Yeah, I love that question. And I still feel as though we bucket it into more of a new logo sales role versus for lack of a better word, more of a farmer. So we have a vice president of global sales role. We always call it sales. We don't call it business development, but we have a whole group of VPs that are responsible for bringing in new customers. And then we have our client services teams that are responsible for growth. So that role is a little bit less positioned as a pure sales role, but they do have a growth target in their account.
Yeah. So the way
we interact is just for one thing, the way we, once a deal is sold, the way we interact is, they grow the business that was already sold. But if there's a new opportunity in a new line of business, so a new product or service of that client, then they bring me back in, right?
Yes. So their role is client services. So when you hire someone on as a client service representative, sometimes they don't really understand they're taking a sales role. Maybe.
Yeah, I agree. Although they have a growth goal, right?
Yeah,
so they know that they do have a growth goal. So, but maybe, I think it gets challenging sometimes, at least in my business, because they get pulled into some of the day-to-day operations and, but it's their job to keep the client happy and to be sure that we're delivering on what was sold and the expectations. And we have to earn the right every day to grow with our clients, through performance. Every single day we earn the right.
And Joyce, when I joined my company out of college, I believe the post that I applied to was account executive. And I was like, ooh, that sounds cool. That sounds cool. And little did I know I was getting into sales. And a few years after that, we did change the name to technical sales so that it was a more accurate description. But I'm not going to lie, like the account executive, the cachet of that executive title, I mean, I think that might have been what pulled me in initially.
Exactly. And then it becomes a hidden sales role. You take the job not realizing that your number one responsibility is to go sell something. Right.
That's right.
And I don't know about you guys, but me as the entrepreneur owner of my business, my number one focus is to go sell something. What about you, Larry?
Oh, for sure. I've been hustling since I was 10. I had to sell myself when my younger sister was born. I asked my parents for a twin brother, but they brought my sister. But at the age of 12, I was out there knocking on doors with my little flyer that my mom had put together for Lawns by Larry. And I learned very quickly, no one's slamming the door in my face, but there were certainly a lot of no's, scram, kids, scram. But when I got that yes, when I sold a deal, oh, it felt so good out there mowing lawns during the summertime, collecting money. Oh, I thought I was hot stuff. But we're all selling. We're always selling, whether we like it or not, whether we want to label it or not. We're always selling, especially entrepreneurs. And even if you work for a company, you better be an entrepreneur. You better be running your business with that same entrepreneurial spirit of you get out of it what you put into it.
100%. You know, our time is up already, you guys. Where does time go?
How did that happen?
I feel like I just said hello, right? I feel like I just said hello to you guys and our time is up, you know. But for our audience, you've been listening to Sales, talking about hidden sales jobs. And we hope that any of you guys out there that's in a hidden sales job now realize that you're in sales. And, you know, and stay engaged, you know, follow us on our platforms. I'll let everyone say where you can find them because, you know, we want to help you, want to educate you on what sales is and what the sales process is so that we can help you be successful in what it is you're doing so that you can be happy about what you're doing and, you know, and grow with it. So, hey, Larry, how can they find you?
LinkedIn is the best place to find me or on my website, LarryLongJr.com.
Heidi.
Yeah, LinkedIn is the best place, or you can reach me through our girlswhosell.com website.
All right, Lindsay.
Yeah, LinkedIn, Lindsay Lackner Davey on LinkedIn, and
I like you.
Yeah, my website is AuthenticSales.com.
Yes, because you know we want you guys to follow us and stay engaged. We want to help you with this sales process. We know it's scary, but we want to help add to your success. You know, you can find me at I am Joyce Johnson on social platforms, but I'm absolutely on LinkedIn, the network at on LinkedIn, as well as other social programs. We want to help you guys. We know there's hidden sales jobs out there to get you willed in, but when you get there, we don't want you to be afraid, and we don't want you to leave, and we don't want you to have that bad feel about sales. We want you to embrace it and love it like we do, and we are here to help you be successful at it. So with that said,
that was well said, Joyce.
What actions do we take to actually see different outcomes? That is the question.
Welcome to the Sales View. Thank you for joining us.
all right. So you've been with, we're going to go backwards today. Joyce.
Heidi.
Larry. The mute monster got you, Linz.
Again.
And this has been the Sales